Hey, Mike, what do Kelly Slater and PT have in common?
I don't know. They're both world champs?
Nope, they both own Endless Summer box set.
Oh my God, rad. You guys, you can get it too. The link's in the show notes.
Welcome to the Stinky Booties podcast, where two old wankers talk about surfing and nothing. Here's your hosts, Mike and Bill.
Now we can listen to it. Hey, everybody. Mike and Bill at the Stinky Booties here.
Yeah. Welcome to episode one. Wait, what? Season one, episode one
okay.
of Stinky Booties.
We're sitting up at Bill's house, second floor.
Yeah, it makes for great audio, but the view's perfect here. So good venue to interview Mike Steele.
Oh, it's my day.
Founder, host, creator, producer of
QuiverCast. The
QuiverCast. Brought to you by Quiver Builder. Buy, sell, shred.
Shred.
So, yeah, sound effects too.
We can load more in there.
That's awesome.
Up to 11.
That's awesome. So, season one, episode one of Stinky Booties. We figured we'd give this a go with interview the interviewer, Mike Steele.
Let's go.
Yeah, he's legendary. He's blowing up. You might have heard of him. You might not, but
not yet. But you will.
Long story short, he's blowing up. He's international.
I am. I even got South America now.
So you're
got my Brazilian listeners.
So you're international, but even more detailed. You're in the southern hemisphere. You're in the northern hemisphere. Yeah. You're in Cleveland.
Big time Cleveland and Columbus for some reason.
Are you in any countries that are sketchy, like communist countries, or anything that you've seen? China. Whoa. So, Mike, tell me, kind of walk us through QuiverCast, Quiver Builder, kind of the catalyst for how it was created. Because, I mean, you and me are friends, and we've been friends a long time. And just one day, you just showed up with all this equipment. So, obviously, that just didn't happen on a whim. There was some process there where you were thinking it through. So
you're wrong. It was a whim. Danielle, who's my wife, and my son Braden have Quiver Builder. Check out Quiver Builder. I posted a board. You should too. And they said no one's going on because there's no content. So I told Braden to come up with some content.
So let me back up.
I'm not going to call him a lagger, but Let's say he lagged.
Right. So for our audience of zero,
right?
What is Quiver Builder? Kind of walk us through that first, because
Quiver Builder. Quiver Builder, you guys should all go on, is a website, let's say similar to like an OfferUp or a Craigslist, where you post your board and or look for a board and purchase it from was that a first party? Third party to third party? What is that?
Third party.
Third party to third party. So this guy named Mark, we know, he loves to use OfferUp, but we're hoping to one day persuade him to come on over to the QuiverCast.
So it's for
the Quiver Builder.
It's for buying and selling surfboards.
Buying and selling surfboards, booties, fins, anything to do with surfing. You want to sell an old wetsuit and some peat in, go ahead.
So it's OfferUp for the surfers.
For the surfers.
Rather than
surfers for surfers.
Okay, cool. So then how did QuiverCast come out of Quiver Builder?
Content. A reason for other people to go and look. If maybe they want to just listen to a podcast about surfing, they come on to QuiverCast, which is a link on the Quiver Builder.
So QuiverCast was created to drive traffic to Quiver Builder?
Correct.
Okay. Have you seen an increase in traffic? Because I know you're...
Yes. So my Facebook account, which we're not very active on, is definitely has many more likes. Pause it. And we're going to pause, everybody.
Okay. All right. Welcome back from the...
Sounds like naughty music.
Yeah.
70s naughty music.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks for that little break there. Anyway, so we were... Mike was just getting into kind of the evolution of QuiverCast and Quiver Builder, and just in summarize, QuiverCast just came as a way to drive traffic to Quiver Builder. And it seems like, at least from my perspective, QuiverCast is, gosh, taken off more so than maybe Quiver Builder.
Yeah. Well, let's all fix that, folks. But okay, yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Which is
for
crazy.
For sure.
But I mean, you think about like some
the party's overdue. I'll just say that. But daylight savings time, the party's coming.
True.
It's a little later.
Yeah.
For the pizza.
But what's good is it's like, what's interesting to me is what you think is what the people want, and then you kind of do something different, and something just totally unexpected comes out of it. And I mean, from what I've seen, you seem to have grasped that and taken it where it's going on its own. I mean, we talked about it. You're in both hemispheres. You're all over the United States, even in Columbus, Ohio, which, I mean, if you're not in Columbus, you're nobody, right? If you're going to make it in media, you got to be in Columbus.
And Huel, which is a little neighborhood in Cleveland. So maybe if I learn how to play music, I can get in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Oh, is that where that is?
I think so. It's Cleveland.
Okay. We'll call it that. Yeah. So anyway, so I mean, I think that's super exciting. I mean, so with that, what kind of thoughts are you having with QuiverCast and the fact that it's kind of become more than you expected, and what's in your head for the future?
Oh, the future, I have no idea. I would like to keep it going, have fun with it, and keep it fun for all the listeners. And yeah, I want the audience to grow. I don't need the same couple hundred people, 1,000 people listening to me.
Right.
I want more people, and future. Just keep it going. I want to document the history of Southern California surfing. I want to hear the stories of the guys from all generations. The current kids have a total different perspective of surfing than we do in the 80s.
Let's talk about that. What do you think? What do you think's different
today?
Yeah.
As the Grom today?
I don't know. You just said that the kids today see it differently than our generation from the 80s. So what do you see as different?
I see that when I was growing up to surf, and my friends that were growing up to surf, mommy and daddy weren't taking them to the beach and catering to their needs. I was riding my bike, starving with my $3 and getting a grandma's cookie by the pier.
Right.
And then surfing till it got blown out, and then being exhausted and riding my bike home.
And then the wind's blowing, headwind on the way home, and you're so bummed because your board's it's like a big sail.
No, if it was headwinds, it would be offshore, and I'd still be out surfing. It was onshore, so I got a little flow home, but, you hit a corner, it's rough. Right. But, these kids are like, oh, it's not good anymore. Like, I rode my bike there. Like, I'm going out.
Right.
I'm going at least out for an hour. Right. I'm going to give it a go.
Right, you put too much energy to get there. You're not just going to go home.
I'm not looking at them like, I'm done.
Yeah,
I'm charging 1 foot or 10 foot. I had no choice. And then if it was 10 foot and I didn't really want to go out, dude, my friends are there. No one was chickening out.
Right.
Because they were talking smack. You'll never live it down.
Yeah, it was you get humiliated.
Easily.
Openly humiliated, and it wasn't, no one told them to stop humiliating you. Like now, your feelings.
It's not, it wasn't bullying, but I guess it was bullying. Mm-hmm. But you knew you could give it, but you could take it too. You had no choice.
In the 70s and the 80s, bullying was just a way of life.
It made us stronger, I believe.
And I guess I speak from...
And I'm not talking about big kid, 200-pound kid beating up a 100-pound kid. That's not the bullying.
Well, I'm not talking about the bullying like that's chronic, where on a daily basis there's somebody, like you see now, where someone's really attacking somebody. But it's just more of like, talking
smack.
I had people say things to me that weren't super nice, that hurt my feelings, but you just dealt with it. And you didn't tell your parents, and it was just, I don't know. And
you shouldn't let it hurt your feelings, because you're going to give it back later. Right. I mean... It wasn't personal, because the stuff probably wasn't even true.
Yeah, for sure. That it's interesting. So there weren't surf coaches.
No surf coaches.
Your parents didn't buy a $100,000 Sprinter van just to take their 8-year-old to the beach.
Nope.
They didn't have 15 boards.
Nope.
And when you were sucking, you didn't blame it on the size of your fins.
Or the fins were the fins. I mean, there was no FCS or Futures.
Every board I got back then, I mean, it was all glass in, of course. Right. But no one asked you what kind of fins you wanted.
No.
If maybe color, but fins they just were there.
No. Yeah. Put on there.
Now it's like, oh, well, I don't have this fin or I have that fin or, oh, this.
I'm going home.
Yeah, and it's just
I got the wrong fins.
It's just like, just go surf. Like, even, for me, and I want to hear from you, but you had a board. Like, I didn't have 6 boards. I had 1 board. Dude. That's the board I rode.
And that's how and I don't even know if I can do it today, but I learned how to use resin and fiberglass and how to cut the pieces out. That board was patched up pretty good.
Right.
It was like a Frankenstein, really.
Yeah, you fixed your own board.
Oh, yeah. There was no Solarez.
No.
Dried in 5 minutes, and you're back out in the water.
Yeah.
It was chewing up your sex wax and shoving it in the hole.
And duct tape.
And duct tape was my best friend.
Which isn't waterproof at all. But you just
Is it?
No, it's not.
I didn't know that till today.
No, it's not.
I'm 50 years old. I just figured that out.
It's horrible. It doesn't. Yeah.
Really?
I mean, if you're in a bind, I guess you could slap it on there. But it's better to put a sticker on it than anything.
Yeah.
So,
but like the sticker, where you get the sticker, you have to pay 50 cents or $1.
Yeah, you had no stickers.
Yeah. It's 7 a.m.
So you didn't go to your dad's Sprinter van who had 50 ding tape stickers in there, or grab one of the other boards and switch your fins out, or actually better than that, have your coach grab your new board and bring it back out to you while your dad sits there and drinks a latte.
All I remember is the old guys that surfed. We'd get in arguments, and I'd be like, "Dude, you better stop talking. I'm gonna get my dad." And they're like, "Go get your dad."
Yeah.
So that didn't work.
Yeah. Did you ever get pounded surfing?
In a fight?
Like a big guy punch you?
No.
No?
No, I got chased around, though.
Yeah, they just didn't get...
They didn't catch me.
They just didn't catch you.
No, but my best story is Seal Beach. I'm probably 17. No. I knew my friend G. I'm 21, 22, right? Probably 92, 93. And this guy, and I was like, I wouldn't care. I just snaked anybody. If I didn't know you, I just burned you. So, this guy had long hair, and he got tired of me burning him. So he snaked me, and I grabbed his hair, and I yanked him down. Dude, then he wanted to go to the beach.
How old were you?
22.
Oh, so
I should have got pounded.
You're an adult.
I was an adult.
Yeah. Wow.
Didn't act like an adult.
I had a guy, I was probably 15.
Okay.
I was definitely in high school. I was a kid.
Yeah.
And I don't remember why, but there was a guy, and he was probably in his mid-20s, and I mean, he was going to beat me up. I mean, he straight up chased me around the water for like 20 minutes, and I kept trying to stay away. I stepped 20 yards away from him because he was legitimately going to beat me up.
Okay.
And eventually he caught me, and he dunked me, and he tackled me, and he was like, I was like,
he didn't even give the offer of let's go to the beach.
No. I didn't even fight. I was scared. I was a kid.
Yeah.
And I remember he was like trying to punch me, and like he pushed me underwater.
Yeah.
And I was just scared. And trying to get away, I guess I kicked my feet, and I kicked him in the stomach, and I kind of knocked the wind out of him.
All right.
And I came up out of the water, and he was like kind of hunched over, and I was like, okay. I grabbed my board and like just paddled, then these big guys, my other friends who were older, came over and like circled him.
Okay.
But I mean, the guy was like 25, 26, and he was going to straight up beat me up, and I was 15. I was a kid.
Like, what did you do?
What do you mean? I don't remember. Why.
Did you burn in? Did you drop down?
I honestly don't remember, but I remember being
was it your fault?
It wasn't like he was like yelling at me, scaring me. Like, no, he was going to beat me up.
So his girlfriend just broke up with him, and he's like angry. So you're it.
Yeah, I don't know, but I remember I was like, oh my gosh, like, what am I going to do? Because I was, I didn't know adults beat up kids.
Yeah, and surfing.
I didn't know that. Yeah. So anyway, then those guys circled him.
Yeah.
Some big guys in the water, like, just kind of stepped in and protected me. And then I just went like full punk dick, like, talking crap. Now I'm tough, right? Now I'm tough because these guys.
Your buddies are there.
Yeah. These like adults that were like, hey, leave the kid alone. So now I'm gonna be it. So anyway, it was crazy back then. I don't see that now. Like, you talk about the kids now, like, I don't, and I'm not saying it's good, but I don't see that kind of regulation, at least around here. I'm sure different places, but you don't have that. I don't know why. I don't know what's changed.
Why. There's cameras everywhere. So you're not going to be 25 and touching.
Well, that guy was just dumb. I mean, he shouldn't have done that.
Yeah, should never done that. Yeah. Well, I mean, were you burning them all?
Well, it's funny. I just remember.
Did you deserve it?
Probably. I don't know. Okay. I honestly don't remember, but I remember this. I remember I was surfing Huntington, and this is when I was 18.
There's Huntington Pier, and then there's the rest of Huntington.
Okay, Huntington Pier. Always Pier.
Okay, Pier.
That's just where we surfed for whatever reason.
So it's a heavier crowd, a little more localized.
Yeah, whatever. But I remember there was a guy. He looked like Vince Klein. Remember that lifeguard from Hawaii? And he like kind of got into movies.
He was a pro surfer too.
Yeah, he was good.
And I think he was an actor even.
And him and Buzzy Kerbox were like actors. But anyway, he was a big fit dude, and he was a lifeguard at Huntington. And I remember I just got out of high school.
Okay.
And I was in college, so I was either 17 or 18. And I remember I drop in on this wave at Huntington on south side of the pier in the wintertime. I just remember it vividly. And the guy drops in on me and just completely lands on me. Like I drop in on bottom turn and he comes down and just lands straight on me, takes me out. We both go down. I come up, and it was like maybe a head high or a little overhead wave.
Okay.
And his fin is like right through my board, like completely knifed my board. And I come up and I'm like, "Whoa, dude, what are you doing? Like, you completely just took me out." And dude, he was like pissed. F you, and throws my board and rips his board off of mine. And like, he's like aggressive and scared. He's big.
And he's a lifeguard.
He's a lifeguard, because I remember I saw him and I was like, oh my gosh, I'd see him there all the time because we surfed there every day, right? Okay. And he was unloading on me, and I'm like, whoa, like he's gonna beat me up. And I remember he grabs his board and he's like, I don't know why he was so mad at me. I did nothing. Mm-hmm. And then I remember I just looked and I go, wait a minute, you burn me. Your fin goes through it's through my board. There's like, I can see light, a complete hole. And I go, now you're going to kick my ass? I was like, what are you doing, dude? Like, what did I do? Yeah. And then he's like, F you. And he grabs the board and he paddles back out. And finally, I was in the water and I'm like, whoa, like, I got to get out because my board's got a huge hole in it. And I paddle up to him, I'm like, dude, what's the problem? And he just turned, he's like, I don't want to be your friend. F you. And just yelled at me. And I'm like, whoa. I'm like, okay, I'm out of here, man. But it was like, you just don't see that. I mean, first he was gnarly, and he was a lifeguard at Huntington, surfing Huntington. Yeah. Like, it wasn't like he was, it's like in where he works. It's like getting in a fight at your work. Like, who does that?
So.
But that's just how it was then. I don't know. I mean, sure that didn't happen to me more than once, but still, I was like, it's not that way anymore.
Then I have a question for you. Is that because guys were more manly back then and tough, and we're wimps now? Or is it society's changed?
I think it's both.
Okay.
Because I think
you had to show your manhood in the 80s.
I don't think you had to, but culturally, you just got in scraps. Okay. There were fights at school. Yeah. There's hardly fights in high school anymore. I mean, it happens, but it's not like it was.
There's fights every week.
Right. Well, I grew up in like kind of a quote unquote a middle class, just a normal, whatever normal is. And there were a lot of fights, but there were fights. It wasn't unusual. And now it's like, you just don't even hear
twice a year.
I think kids are just culturally, I think we've just, and I'm not saying it's worse, it's bad, but it's different. And in surfing, like, if guys got into it and they just handled it, and then it was over. Now it's like, oh, well, you got to fix my board. You got to pay. You ran into me, and now you got to pay to get my board fixed. I'm like, dude, we're surfing in Southern California. There's 1 million people here.
Yep.
And sometimes things happen. No one's paying to fix your board. Right? Little room shot. But I just see that as like, I see that. I mean, and I don't, I haven't hit anybody, and I can't tell you. I mean, since high school, I mean, you're in control. But if someone hit me, I mean, I wouldn't be like, oh, you got to fix my board or I'm going to sue you over. It's like a stupid ding. Like, no.
The sue mentality.
Yeah.
I think in Hawaii, probably, it's not like it is here in Southern California.
Yeah. I haven't been to Hawaii in a really long time, so I can't really tell you what it's like. I kind of wish it was. I kind of wish it was that way because it wasn't dangerous, but it was regulated. Right. Like it kept.
It gave everyone. You had respect for others,
and it kept everything in check.
Right.
It wasn't like oh, you can go to the beach and mind your own business and get beat up. No, the only time I saw things happen, it was usually when I saw things happen, it was two dudes that were being equally aggressive and they were mad at each other. Okay. It wasn't like an aggressive guy picking on a not aggressive. It's like, no, you're both just frothing, burning everybody, and you now finally burned each other, and so you guys go fight.
Yeah.
So
I don't even know in the 80s if I saw that many fights. There's just a lot of talking.
I saw a lot of jabbering.
A lot of talking.
I never saw a ton of fights. I saw these two kids fight one time. They were like 13, 14, and they must have each weighed about 80 pounds soaking wet. And they were fighting on the beach, and they fought for a while, and it was so funny because they couldn't fight.
Right.
They were falling and just like throwing hay.
They went for it though. That's good.
Oh, they went for it, and we were laughing because they were just like, and they were so skinny, these little kids, and it was fun to watch. But yeah, that was everybody in the water. But I don't know. I think it has changed, but I don't know. We kind of went down a rabbit hole here. I don't really know.
Yeah, well, that's what this podcast is about. It's number 1.
Yeah.
Volume 1.
But what? So getting back to QuiverCast.
Oh, okay.
You know, your premise was to interview people that aren't famous that surf.
Right.
Just like you said earlier, I think you just want to document the surfing culture,
history.
The history of surfing from everybody's perspective, no matter who you are.
Right.
Not necessarily, I was a pro or I did this. It's just like there was that guy, I think you interviewed, the older guy from up in Long Beach that was just telling all these stories from like way back when. I can't remember, but it was
Richard
just like,
Payne.
yeah. And he kept like talking real slow.
Yeah, that probably was Rich.
But it's just like, those are the stories I think that are super compelling. What makes QuiverCast a little different is, you know, you're not interviewing anybody. The people you're interviewing, nobody listening kind of knows any of those stories ahead of time. Like if you interview someone famous, like if you interviewed a baseball player about a particular World Series game, like people listening watched the game.
Right.
So this is person talking about this event that other people are familiar with. You're interviewing people like a guy talking about, you know,
he's telling his story
when they bailed school to go surf Baja Malibu in 1977.
Right.
No one knows that happened, but I think it's interesting that
you.
It makes it interesting, I think, for people to listen because it's not another interview with a famous person.
Right, and I would love to keep it that way, even though I had a few famous people, but the guys that I did, like Smelly from NoFX, he's not known for surfing. Like, no one even knew the dude surfed. And
outside of this little bubble that we live in, I mean, NoFX is a popular band, obviously, but they're not.
In the punk world, they're big.
That's what I mean. In those little in surfing, punk's a bigger influence than in ice skating.
Yes.
You know what I mean? But you know, it's not like you were interviewing Geddy Lee from Rush.
No.
You're interviewing him, which, you know.
I could interview Eddie Vedder, though. He surfs.
Right. But once again,
you know. But the surfing doesn't have too many celebrities. Only the surfer like Kelly. That's our celebrity. Who else do you have? Tom Hanks?
Tom Curran.
Tom Curran. But Tom Hanks surfs, they say.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's
Matthew McConaughey.
Does he really, though?
I don't know.
I don't know either.
I just, it's funny.
You're not hearing about him ripping from second point to first point in Malibu.
No. What's funny is when we went to Nicaragua a couple years ago with Cottrell, I guess Matthew McConaughey had stayed at the place we stayed at the resort.
Okay.
And so Mike's like, for some reason it's funny. He's like, that's like his favorite actor for whatever. I don't know. Maybe it is.
The guy's cool. I like
whatever. He likes Matthew McConaughey.
Yeah.
And so we got there and he's in this room and he's like, man, I wonder if Matthew McConaughey stayed in here. And he was
like starstruck.
Totally. I'm like, dude, what's wrong with you? I'm like, okay, who knows? But you know who? Also, what's the guy's name from Chasing Mavericks? Butler something.
Oh yeah.
The guy almost drowned. I don't think so, but I know he almost drowned in the channel because he's freaking. I mean, dude, you're at Mavericks.
Being in that water's gnarly.
Yeah, but who was it? Was it Liam McNamara? Wasn't that him? Who was the? There was someone.
Double.
There was someone they had that was a really big wave gnarly guy who was like supposed to be helping him and kind of
mentoring him to get
to help him make the movie, so that he didn't die. Because suicide if you just send some random guy to Mavericks. First of all,
suicide even like someone.
First of all, who would even go? Like if you don't even know how to surf and someone's like, oh, go out there to film, I'd be like, no. But I don't know. Anyway, Garrett McNamara, not Liam McNamara. Liam McNamara is a musician. Garrett McNamara, gnarliest guy. But anyway, I think there was something like that. But anyway, I mean, so that's like a. But he's not going to tell you anything interesting. He's just an actor who had learned to surf for a role.
Right.
Yeah. But you know, just that premise, I think, is pretty interesting.
So I want to interview everyone that has a story. My problem I'm having is I go and surf, and I find a guy that surfs, you know, they can't be a COVID surfer. They can't be like, oh, everything's so happy. I just learned how to surf, and we have a big smile on our face last week.
Right.
That's not the guy I'm looking for.
You're not getting the kid that just took a surf school lesson on a foamy.
No, because he doesn't surf yet. There's a day that in 10 years we can have a conversation. Right. I'm looking for the guy that's salty. You know, maybe surfs. It could be a doctor that surfed before he has surgery. Or I don't know.
Yeah.
Those guys are some, you know. Or I found this older lady. I'm not gonna say her name. And dude, it would have been the best interview, but you know,
Terramar lady.
Yeah, it was pumping fire that day.
I think from what you told me, if you interview her, you better do it like in a coffee shop or something.
Yeah,
not in a private setting, because she seemed to be a little
crazy. But with that being said, you know, she didn't want to get out of the water. What am I supposed to do? Sit there for 2 hours and wait for her?
No, you move on.
Yeah, I move on. So.
No.
There's a lot of timing to it, you know.
Yeah.
You got to be. Anyhow, it's fun. I'm having fun with what we're doing here. Mm-hmm. We're gonna keep it up. I am getting a little bigger names. You know, people that have worked in the industry and stuff. I didn't necessarily start out that way, but that's where we are. And they all have stories. You listen to Jamie Stone's new story. The first time he saw Tom Curran in real life, it's pretty funny.
Right. It was with.
You haven't heard it yet. You got to listen.
But what's interesting about that is, all of us at one, well, not all, but at one point saw Tom Curran. Like I saw Tom Curran at the OP Pro, and I was like,
right.
Oh my gosh. So it's interesting when you have that person tell that story. Mm-hmm. The other normal people, quote unquote, who are listening to it, going, "Yeah, I remember. You know, I was in Foodland on the North Shore, and freaking Martin Potter's in line behind me. As you know, I'm buying Fruit Loops, and Martin Potter's standing behind me. I'm like, whoa, like that's Martin Potter."
But okay, so I'm gonna spoiler alert. If you're listening to this podcast and we air it, go back and listen to Jamie Stone's interview first. Spoiler alert. Spoiler alert.
Okay. That could be like, that bumper music could be like when you're going to, that's something you play like that people just know, like, oh, there's the sound, there's the music.
Right.
Turn it off for a second because they're going to say something like, you know.
So they're in Carlsbad. All the boys are hanging out. They're 12 years old. And they're like, dude, Tom Curran just went in the bathroom there at the, the Tamarack little outhouse. Mm-hmm. And they're like, no, it's not. No, it's not. So there's like 10 kids that go in there. Tom Curran's got to go take a dump. And they're all like trying to see if he has OP shorts down around his ankles. Like
oh, that's so funny.
So that's what I mean. There's some funny stories out there.
Who would you want to interview? Who surfs? Who is famous, and why?
That's a good question. I don't know. I think Kelly's story's been told. I don't know. I would take anybody. They all have a story. I think if I did get a Kelly story, I'm not going to ask him the normal stories.
Right.
I'm going to ask him questions like, I don't even know. Kelly, that's a hard one, so I wouldn't know. Tom Curran would be great, but how much is he going to say?
He wasn't really the most talkative guy.
No.
You know what I think would be a great interview? Would be
you can always do Aki. But go ahead.
Machado. Because he seems like he's a kind of a chill dude. I don't know. I just think that like the conversations wouldn't be, well, this sponsor and that sponsor. Or this. I think it would just be more because he, know,
right.
He just seems like a dude who surfs.
And the guy, I mean, Rob Machado today is probably better than he was in the 90s.
Right. So he's like,
it.
He just still, and he rides. He doesn't always ride.
He's accessible though. I want someone that's not accessible to me.
Right.
So I'm thinking Australia.
Yeah.
Or maybe one of the WSL announcers, Martin Potter.
You know who would be great to interview? Although whoever. I don't think this will ever get aired. But we used to make so much fun of him back in the day because we just were like, dude, that guy's such a kook. Dave Stanton, the dude who was like the original.
Oh yeah. So he lives in Long Beach.
Oh my gosh, we used to make fun of him.
He's not very good.
We used to just make fun of him because we see him like on like ABC Sports doing like, hey, we're here in Sunset Beach, Hawaii with the and because I mean, it's funny. We're making fun of this guy, which is funny because we're stupid, right? We're the guys are trying to make a living, and we're these dumb kids like laughing at him and making.
It's kind of like Joel Torpel.
Yeah, he just doesn't.
He's a trained announcer. He's a sportscaster,
right?
And they had to get someone
in
like
surfing.
Well, I think he's trained in all sports, but they needed someone to make surfing legitimate on TV.
Right, but I think interviewing like that guy, it would be interesting.
He's accessible, actually. That's a good.
But just from that angle of like, you're not like the WSL now they've got Potts and they've got Barton Lynch on there. And they've got, Peter Mell. Like, those guys are, like, actually really
legit
good.
Rippers.
Well, but they're also really good at, like, hosting or announcing a contest.
Right.
Like, Peter Mell is that, he's good personality. Like, when you hear him talk, he's well-spoken, and he says things that are, like, and even Potts and everything. And Barton Lynch is a total frother, right? He's like, oh, God, mate. He's just like a 12-year-old kid still frothing. And they're fun to watch, and you have instant respect because you know who they are.
Yeah, right.
Where a Dave Stanley be like, dude, what was it like being this guy in this sport that wasn't really, it was new to like TV, and you're not really a surf guy, you're just a sports announcer.
Yeah.
And you're surrounded, and all of a sudden you got to act like, oh, Tom Kern and Tom Carroll act like you know everything about him when you probably don't.
Right.
But you're also trying to appeal to like the ABC sports people, but then like me, 13-year-old kid making jokes about what a kook you are, although I'm the biggest idiot in the world because the guy's just trying to make a living, and I'm,
talking smack.
Well, when you're 13, you don't realize that there are bills and you have to make a living. You're just like, I don't know, I live with my parents, everything's handled.
You're thinking you're better than him at surfing, and so you.
Oh yeah, I'm a total dick.
But that's what surfers are. We're all dicks.
Right. I used to say I love surfing, but I hate surfers.
Surfers are the worst people in the world.
Yeah, they're well.
We only care about ourselves for the most part.
When you're a young kid who surfs okay, and you live in Orange County, and you're in the quote unquote the scene,
right?
You're a dick.
Yeah.
Because that scene breeds little dicks.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's still today. Go to Lowers and.
Oh. I think Lowers today is a million times worse than anywhere we surfed in the 80s.
But a lot of those kids, I mean, I get it. But
do you?
I get why they're the way they are. They're just little punks. They're just little jerk-offs because they live in that culture that breeds it. But when they get older, they'll realize, like, that's just... great, you can surf good. Who cares?
So I have a question for you. You brought in culture. You said the word culture. And you also brought in... they don't know what they're doing. But do you think if they knew surf history... their perspective and their attitude would change? I don't think they know the history of surfing.
I don't think it would change because...
they're handed to the sport or lifestyle in a diaper.
Right. But there's this thing in sports, and maybe not all sports, but it seems to be, and not all surfers, but it seems to be, at least, I mean, I can only speak because I grew up surfing. So I had a lot of friends growing up that were really good, way better than me. Like dudes that were legit, like trying to be pro, at least like PSAA pros.
Right.
And rip, and good looking kids, meet chicks all the time, got all the sponsors, they're the cool kid.
Yeah.
And they kind of think they're special because they surf good. Mm-hmm. And when I was little, I'm like, wow, they're special because they surf good. Then I got older, I'm like, great. So you can surf good. Who cares? Doesn't mean you can be a dick to everybody around you. Like you're just a dude who surfs. And by the way, there's a million guys who surf good you never heard of.
Right.
But when you're young, and you're in that world, people are always like, and that's in any sport, right? If you're some baseball kid who awesome, everybody thinks you're great, and and then you get to college where everybody's great, and you don't stand out so much no more.
So with that being said, if they go to a concert in Irvine, they're going to handful of people are going to recognize them. Most people still are not going to recognize them.
Right.
You got Irvine Meadows for a concert, let's say.
Right.
But if they go up to Portland to see a concert, no one's going to know who they are. They're just like everyone else.
Well, and it's
their bubble they're living in, and they leave that bubble. They are nobody.
Right. Well, think about the first time you go to the North Shore.
Yeah.
We all grew up surfing where we surf. So I surfed Huntington every day. I had that wave wired. That's just Huntington.
Just Huntington.
And it's not a gnarly wave.
No.
You go to the North Shore, you're like, whoa.
Or Santa Cruz.
Or Blacks.
Anywhere. Yeah.
And you're like, it's eye-opening and it's scary. And you're like, man, I'm not so cool, and I'm not as cool as I thought.
Yeah.
So I think it's that. To your question of do you think it's different? I don't think it is. It's just, I think it's age and maturity where you start to realize, like, man, like, I'm kind of a jerk. Like,
you were.
Well, you realize it because when you realize it, you still are, right?
So,
and then before you can change, you have to realize that you're, when you pal out and you're jawing at everybody and burning guys just because they don't surf as good as you. Like, so what? The guy doesn't surf as good as you. He was deeper than you. You got to let him go.
7 a.m. on a Wednesday. Bill Hooper is a different 7 a.m. on a Wednesday in South Jetty as he is at home. You have an attitude in the parking lot. As a surfer, you're getting dressed. You know how you're gonna get the waves.
I'm getting frothed out. I don't know if I.
So
I mean, I
people know you. You're socializing,
but I try to keep it in the water. I don't. I try to be respectful of people. I mean, am I going to say that I've never burned anybody? No, but sometimes you don't see people, and all of a sudden, because there's glare or there's offshores, or someone takes off super deep and you didn't even know they were there. I mean, there are real things where you're like, oh my gosh, like you drop in and all someone's right there. You're like, whoa, and you're like, So
I guess I said it wrong, but you're a different person in the surfing parking lot than you are at the Home Depot parking lot, and you're picking up lumber.
Sure,
you're Bill. Bill in South Jetty parking lot is Bill going surfer Bill.
Yeah,
two different people.
Yeah. We all are, right? And that's kind of the strategy, right? If you paddle out and you kind of...
What sound effect would work?
I don't know. You want to do one? Do one. There you go. That's what it sounds like when I pull in the parking lot.
Yeah. South Jetty parking lot, 7 a.m.
Yeah.
Bill's here.
And there's like 3 people there. I'm like, that's a loud applause for like 3 people. But, I'm like, I get out and I wave. I just say hi to all my fans. Okay. No one knows what I'm doing because I have no fans. So... But
alrighty.
No, but to that, I think we all, you got the eye of the tiger when you go surf, right? Depends on what you're doing.
If you don't, I feel that if you don't and you're not going out there somewhat aggressive, you surf like crap that day.
Well, when it's crowded, you just won't catch waves. And I'm not saying go out and burn people and be a dick, but
can't you move 50 yards down the beach? There's still some open gaps.
But you got to put your game face on. You got to pay attention when you got to, try to position yourself so when the set, you know what I mean? Like there's a chess game going on, and if you don't, I mean, it was just fine. But if you're not surfing with all your friends, it's probably not going to be
as fun.
If you're surfing with if I'm surfing, like when we went to, a couple years ago, Nicaragua, and I went and surfed on the boat, like we pulled up at a place, like it was just us on the boat. Yeah. There's no eye of the tiger. It's like, okay, it's your turn. You go. And you go, it wasn't like,
it was fun.
Like I'm not back paddling we're not trying to position each other. It's like, no, we're freaking...
We're not in the heat.
We're all visitors here. No one here. We're all just surfing. So you go on this one, I'll go on the next one, or whatever.
Let's hoot each other on.
Yeah, but if you go try to surf Southside Huntington with that same attitude, you'll catch no waves.
None.
You know what I mean? Because there's a million guys, and they're going to step on their...
And they're trying to get their 5 waves in before work.
Dude, they'll step on their dead mother to catch a wave. And you in their way, you're not going. You know what I mean? You're going to lowers. Go to lowers on a good swell. It's brutal. Or go to Swamis. Go surf Swamis on any swell.
That's a little different.
Yeah, but you still get burned. Because there's people that are just... It's just... There's
lowers, you're in this little compact area.
You put 150...
Swamis kind of spreads out a little.
Put 150 people in a spot, and let's say it's a good swell.
Okay.
10 waves a set. That's 20 options for 150 people.
Yeah.
Assuming every wave gets split left and right.
Yeah. You're at a point break, like Swamis doesn't always have a left. Or it's just kind of fat and boring.
Yeah, but that math isn't good.
No.
Unless you're...
So your day at Swamis when it's 5-6 foot is 2 good ones or 2 fun ones.
Well,
you're stoked.
My day is I don't even surf there. I don't even surf Swamis anymore.
It's fun.
It's awesome wave. It's great. Yeah. But it's just I'm not one of the guys that surfs there, and if I paddle out, I'm just some random dude, and I get it. And even when I go, 4 guys on longboards take off on you, and it's like that's just how it is.
So I had Rincon experience this year, and it's been a while, and same deal.
Yeah, Rincon.
Rincon's gnarlier, way gnarlier than
But
Swamis.
you go to Swamis, and that's our experience, and I get why. But then, I'll point to Machado. He goes, and no one goes.
Of course not.
But that's the respect he's earned. He's surfed there his whole life, and I don't have a problem with that. That's just how it is.
All righty. So I think we're going to wrap this up. What'd you think about the equipment, the new equipment? We got new equipment here at
Equipment's
Stinky
good.
Booties.
I obviously, I'm only hearing it through the live feed.
We'll do a little practice
playback, but it's good. I like that.
Any final words from Bill on the first Stinky Booties episode?
Stinky Booties, season 1, episode 1 in the bag. Next time, maybe we actually could have a topic and figure it out ahead of time.
We'll bring some magazines in and talk about some 80s,
that
70s.
would be fun. That'd be fun.
I don't have any 60s, I don't believe.
Yeah.
But maybe some 90s. And just bring a different... And laugh at their clothes they're wearing that are coming back today.
Really short shorts. And
the 80s style. Let's just talk off surfing. Have you noticed the kids are going back to the 80s style? Well, I hate it.
You saw
it's horrible.
Well, you've seen my twin fin, my MR twin fins.
Yeah, I'm not talking boards. Boards always. This day and age, everything's acceptable.
Yeah.
Next time, let's talk about acceptable.
Boards.
What was acceptable in the 80s and what wasn't?
Oh, that'd be good. Yeah.
That's what we'll talk
Board
about.
Design.
So we'll leave everybody with that thought on episode 1. And hey, Bill, have a good day at work.
Yeah.
Tomorrow on the next, what is today, Wednesday? Next couple weeks?
It's Tuesday.
We'll probably revisit the Stinky Booties in a couple weeks, folks.
All right.
Mike signing off. And
That's
thank you so much for joining us here at QuiverCast. Thank you so much.
Yep. And sell your boards on Quiver Builder.
Quiver Builder. And go ahead and, no picture up yet, but Stinky Booties, at Stinky Booties with BOTTIES. As in the booties that you wear on Instagram.
Not booty, like.
Not booty. Booties.
Booties. Okay.
All right.
Yeah. And I have nothing to promote, so.
Well, thank you.
Everybody be nice to each other. That's my promotion for the world.
Adios, everybody. Signing off. Hey, you guys. Endless Summer box set. This thing is legit. It's authentic. Numbered certificate in it. It has a 5-frame film strip from the original print. You literally own a piece of history. It has a specially minted bronze medallion. Dude, that thing's sick. Okay, there's so much more here. Go to the show notes. There's a link on there. Go check this piece of history out. This thing's rad. Seriously. Smithsonian American History Museum has it. It took 4 years of research with 3.5 in production, all hand assembled. This thing's rad. So much to this awesome box set. Remastered DVD, sharper images than the original film, but dude, this thing's so sick. Link in the show notes.